Spencer and Danielle's love story felt like a modern fairy tale. They met in college, fell head over heels, and got married right after graduation. To everyone who knew them, they were the perfect couple, living a blissful life in their cozy suburban home. Spencer adored Danielle. He worked hard at his architecture firm to provide for them, dreaming of the day they'd start a family. Danielle, a freelance graphic designer, seemed just as devoted. Their life was a picture of happiness, or so Spencer believed. But lately, a strange feeling had been creeping into Spencer's heart. It was a quiet, unsettling hum beneath the surface of their perfect life. Danielle had become distant, almost like a stranger living in his house. She was always on her phone, smiling at texts he wasn't meant to see. When he'd ask who she was talking to, she'd wave it off, saying it was just a client or an old friend. The excuses were always plausible, but they never quite sat right with him. The late nights at work became more frequent. She'd come home smelling of a cologne that wasn't his, her eyes shimmering with a secret excitement that had nothing to do with him. Spencer tried to ignore the warning signs. He loved her too much to entertain the thought that she could betray him. He told himself he was being paranoid, that the stress from his job was making him imagine things. He wanted to believe in the woman he married, the woman he had built his entire world around. One evening, Danielle announced she was going on a week-long business retreat to a mountain resort. She said it was a networking opportunity she couldn't miss. Spencer felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He'd never heard of this retreat before, and it seemed odd for her company to organize something so suddenly. He tried to ask questions, but she deflected them with practiced ease, her smile never quite reaching her eyes. "Don't worry, honey," she said, pecking him on the cheek. "It's just work. I'll miss you like crazy." As he helped her pack, he noticed a new, slinky black dress she'd bought. It wasn't her usual style. For the gala dinner, she explained quickly, folding it neatly into her suitcase. The lie was so smooth, so effortless, it sent a chill down his spine. The night before she left, Spencer couldn't sleep. He lay awake, listening to her steady breathing, and the feeling of dread was overwhelming. He knew something was wrong, just didn't know how to prove it. The week Danielle was gone was torture for Spencer. House felt empty and cold. He called and texted, but her replies were brief and sporadic. She claimed the reception was terrible in the mountains. He tried to focus on work, but his mind kept replaying every strange moment, every flimsy excuse. He felt like he was losing his mind, caught between his love for her and the gnawing suspicion that was eating him alive. On the day she was due back, Spencer decided he couldn't live with the uncertainty any longer. He needed a distraction, something to keep his mind occupied. He decided to do a deep clean of the house, a task he usually hated but now welcomed. He started in their bedroom, stripping the bed, vacuuming the carpets, and dusting every surface. It was as he was cleaning out their shared closet that his world came crashing down. Tucked away in the back, behind a stack of old shoeboxes, was a small canvas travel bag. It wasn't one he recognized. Curiosity overriding his hesitation, he unzipped it. Inside, he found a jumble of men's clothing, a few t-shirts, a pair of jeans, and some boxers. None of them were his. His heart hammered against his ribs. He dug deeper, his hands trembling, and then he saw it. At the bottom of the bag was a receipt. It was from a fancy Italian restaurant, dated just 3 days ago. The restaurant wasn't in the mountains where Danielle's retreat was supposedly being held. It was in a city 3 hours in the opposite direction. That wasn't the detail that broke him. He scanned the itemized bill: 2 appetizers, 2 main courses of lobster ravioli, a bottle of expensive red wine, and 2 desserts. It was a romantic dinner for 2. And at the very bottom of the receipt, in the space for a tip, was a handwritten note: "For my beautiful Danielle. Last night was incredible. Can't wait for our next adventure. Love, Mark." Mark. The name hit Spencer like a physical blow. Mark was his so-called best friend, the best man at his wedding. The pieces of the puzzle clicked into place with horrifying clarity. The late nights, the secret texts, the cologne, the sudden business trip. It was all a lie. They hadn't gone to a mountain resort. They had gone on a romantic getaway together. Spencer sank to the floor, the receipt clutched in his hand. The paper felt like it was burning his skin. The air was sucked from his lungs, replaced by a cold, numbing pain. Every shared memory with Danielle, every laugh, every promise, was now tainted by this betrayal. And Mark, the man he trusted like a brother, had stabbed him in the back. When Danielle walked through the door later that afternoon, her face glowing, Spencer was waiting for her in the living room. He was sitting calmly in his armchair, the travel bag and the damning receipt laid out on the coffee table in front of him. The smile on her face vanished the moment she saw the items. Her tan from her trip seemed to fade, replaced by a pale, sickly white. She opened her mouth to speak, to spin another lie, but no words came out. She saw the look in Spencer's eyes, not of anger, but of profound, heartbreaking disappointment. "The reception must have been great," Spencer said, his voice quiet and steady, but laced with ice. "You've even had time for a nice dinner with Mark." Danielle's carefully constructed world of deceit crumbled around her. There were no more excuses, no more plausible deniability. That one little detail, a forgotten receipt in a hidden bag, had exposed everything. The fairy tale was over. Spencer knew he could never look at her the same way again. The love he once felt had been shattered into a million pieces, and he knew, with a painful certainty, that it could never be put back together. He had lost his wife and his best friend in one devastating blow, but in the ruins of his old life, he had found a terrible, liberating truth. He was finally free from the lies. The long, difficult road to healing could begin.